John Heaton with Heaton Associates. Who's John Heaton?
We have a small insurance brokerage. We've been in business for 15, 16 years, specializing in commercial, health, and HR.
What do you enjoy the most in helping your customer base?
Is getting to know my clients, getting to know their needs, but also personally. My job is educating my clients, staying up to date with them.
Where do you want to take Heaton Associates?
I really want to grow through payroll, HR, and commercial, just trying to find clients where we offer the entire package.
Hello everyone, I'm Chris Markarian here with Markarian Law Group, and this is the Chris Markarian Podcast. This is a podcast where we highlight community service before client and customer service. We are an organization that helps our clients before they're involved in an accident and after they're done dealing with the aftermath of an accident. We highlight the community organizations and individuals that give back to our community. Hi, John. How are you?
Good.
Thank you for joining me on this podcast, the Chris Markarian Podcast. We're trying to do this with community members that are involved in our community, and I appreciate you coming on. You're a figure in our community. You've been involved in the community here in the Yucaipa Valley area, and I wanted to share your story with everyone that's watching our podcast. So let's start with John Heaton with Heaton Associates. Who's John Heaton?
We have a small insurance brokerage. We've been in business for 15, 16 years, specializing in commercial, health, and HR. I'm married, we just did 25 years, so it's pretty cool. And 6 kids and 1 grandchild. So
that's awesome. I think you're the only guy I know that has 1 more kid than I do. So that's amazing. God bless them.
Yeah, if you come to church with me, we pack it with kids. So
it's funny because I was telling my wife that I don't know where we would put the 6th kid because we have a 7-person car. Then we have to upgrade to another car. They're like, well, they're driving. At least the older ones are driving. So
well, that's the key. The older ones drive because we only have 3 at home. So 3 out of the house, 3 at home. So, but we're still a minivan family.
That's awesome. And how long have you lived in the area? Where do you guys live?
So we live in, we're actually in Calimesa. We lived in Yucaipa for 9 years. Then we bought a house at JP Ranch right off Bryant, or Singleton, in 2020. So we're, just right in the area.
That's awesome. And when did you start Heaton Associates?
Started in 2011. 2011. Yep.
What got you to start on what I call as a personal injury attorney, the dark side, insurance? How do you deal with that?
Well, it's interesting. So out of college, I graduated in 2020. Cal Poly Pomona. I got into finance. So I was working for a company in Orange County. We were doing equipment financing packages, computer leases, and large equipment leases. Didn't enjoy that a lot. So I got into doing it more on my own, where we were doing financial packages, but mortgages, equipment leasing. And I did that for a number of years. But if you know what happened in the 2007 to 2010 range, that dried up. And we had to make a decision. And so we did. So I actually went to work for Paychex. And I sold payroll and workers' comp for a number of years. And then I just got sick of not getting paid. That's one flaw in the payroll world. And those who are payroll reps, God bless you guys, and you guys know what I'm talking about. Though, is you sell one payroll, you don't get paid on that ever again. Even though the payroll company gets paid every time you make a payment, the client makes a payment. So I was like, there's got to be something better. And my brother's been selling insurance for years, and he was more on the personal lines, the home and auto. And I was like, you know what? Let's give it a shot. So 2011, we jumped in. We did personal lines a little bit. That wasn't my favorite. Doing business over a kitchen table wasn't my favorite. I preferred doing it in more of an office setting. So that's when we started targeting business owners. 2014, the Affordable Care Act went into effect. And that's when health insurance really picked up because there was a lot of confusion on what this bill and how it affects health insurance. And then we kind of took off from there.
What do you enjoy the most? As you shared, health insurance specifically has been very complicated.
Oh, yeah.
Thank God I am with Heaton Associates. Tell us about what do you enjoy the most in helping your customer base?
Well, the funnest thing for me is getting to know my clients. I mean, I think most of my clients, a lot of them become my friends. Insurance is insurance, for the most part. There is a service aspect. There's a product knowledge aspect. But I'll be honest, especially in the health insurance world, there's a lot of good health insurance brokers out there. We're all getting old. So it does seem there's not a lot of younger generations getting into health insurance. what I enjoy the most is getting to know my clients, getting to know their needs, but also personally, knowing their family. I mean, I've been on trips with my clients. I've gone to volleyball games in Nebraska, watching their daughter play in a college volleyball game. I've done stuff like that, and that's been a lot of fun.
Tell us about Heaton Associates. What is the makeup of Heaton Associates? How many employees? How many agents?
So we're pretty small. We've got, there's 4 of us total. It's me and my wife. We work together. She handles the commercial side. I handle the health side. And then we've got 2 employees. Both work remote, and they're great. We're looking to grow. So we are, just like you mentioned earlier about an attorney. You're looking to add an attorney. We are looking to grow as well. But we're small, but we're nimble. As we get new clients, that new client's very important to us. A lot of bigger firms, you're just a number. You're just another file that goes in the cabinet, so to speak. But no, we love new clients.
Hey, thank you so much for continuing to watch this episode. We're going to take a quick break just to share with you that we have various campaigns going on in the community. Please stay tuned. Subscribe to our channel, like, share, and write us a review. We appreciate you continuing to support the growth of Mark Carnian Law Group here in Yucaipa Valley. Speaking of new clients, who is your ideal client?
Sure.
Who are you looking for?
So really anybody, and I hate to use anybody because you want to be specific when you get asked that question, but if you're looking to start a business and you don't know where to turn, we love that. We love walking you through the process, especially in California, because California can be a tougher place to operate. But if where our sweet spot is, I would say 10 employees to 50. If you're in that range, you're kind of overlooked with the big brokerages, the big insurance agencies. And that's what we love. I'd say 80% of our book has between 10 to 50 employees located in the Inland Empire. Probably 80% of what we do is in the Empire. We can go outside. We have some in other states as well, but most of it is here. And what we have found, a lot of it's underserved. A lot of the big brokerages are located in Orange County and in LA or up north. And the Inland Empire sometimes gets forgotten about.
I'm going to ask you that. I know your podcast focuses on businesses in the Inland Empire. What made that decision for you to grow and raise your family in the Inland Empire?
Well, it's the same reason I started that podcast. Was I'm a podcast guy, and every time I work out in the gym, and I see you in the gym all the time, by the way, I have my headphones on and I'm listening to a podcast. Well, the other day, a few months ago, I was looking for one that was specific to the Inland Empire, doing business here, and there wasn't one. I couldn't find at least anything that was current. And we love this area. We love Yucaipa. We love the Redlands area. We love Riverside. We love going out to the Coachella Valley. I don't think there's a place that we would rather live. I mean, you talk about the beach and you talk about, LA, but there's a different kind of person that lives in this area. A little bit more, real. I guess that's you drive through Orange County and nothing seems real sometimes.
Absolutely.
Not to put I've got great clients and great friends in Orange County, so I don't want to alienate them too much. But here it's more real, and people, you see the struggle, you see the successes. And in terms of specifically Yucaipa, raising my family here, I've had 3 kids already go through Yucaipa High School. I've got another junior at the high school. I've got my daughter who will be a freshman there next year. I couldn't think of a better place to raise kids.
I love it. I share the same feelings about, obviously, Yucaipa and Calamasa. I'm a big fan of your mayor. Linda Molina is a good friend of ours. We love all the work that she does through the Lions Club, and I'm in Rotary. So giving back to the community is a important part of what I think everybody's life should look like. I appreciate the work that you do through insurance. Tell us about some of the challenges you've seen through the work that you do with insurance and providing commercial and health insurance to businesses.
So you kind of got to break those up. So with health insurance, it's really a political vehicle. I mean, it is every time there's a new election, whether it's in California or whether it's at the federal level, health insurance is always a hot topic. So right now we're under the umbrella of the Affordable Care Act, Obamacare, which whether you like it or whether you don't like it, that always doesn't matter because that is the law of the land.
That's right.
You've got to adhere to it. That can make it difficult sometimes, especially for a business owner that just doesn't understand what they're signing up for, doesn't understand what a gold or a platinum plan means. Why is there not as many options as there used to be? 2014 and before that, we could present hundreds and hundreds of different options just with one carrier. Now you can't. You're very limited because it's structured between the bronze, silver, gold, platinum umbrella. On the commercial side, again, it's still very political, but it's more specific to California. Workers' comp laws are crazy. They're very one-sided for the employee. So as an employer, you got to be very strategic and very careful on how you handle your employees, especially when it comes to workers' comp, and making sure first you have it, but also making sure you have all the safety processes in place to protect your employees. We can go on with general liability and commercial auto and all those things that are really, really expensive because of the climate that we're dealing with in California.
Absolutely. And I tend to contribute to that climate, obviously, with the personal injury work that we do here.
Yep.
And that's why we were talking about, even though California is difficult to do business in because they're not business friendly, but they're very consumer friendly.
Yes.
And California is probably the leading state in consumer protection. And I love that part of my job, even though balancing the difficulties of running a business, having employees, hiring or letting go of employees is something that is always at the front line of our concern of making sure we do it within the guidelines that California has prescribed.
Right.
With that being said, other than you educating and selling insurance policies, what does your job entail as an insurance agent?
Again, making sure people are staying up to date on changing laws and changing rules. Workers' comp changes all the time. HR, we do also offer HR support, so making sure that you're staying in compliance. State of California requires certain employee trainings every year. A lot of that, and that comes as a shock to especially a new business that's just starting. Those employees need to be trained with the harassment training, the workplace violence training, and so on, depending on how big your business is. Those all apply. So I think the main thing is my job is educating my clients, staying up to date with them, shopping their policies. I mean, I know there's a lot of brokers that anytime it comes to renewal, they cross their fingers and hope they don't get a call from the client because they just want it to renew because that's just less work for them and then they get paid again. We don't do that. Every renewal, we're going out and shopping it to make sure it's the best possible policy for our client.
And you did a great job with us. You let me know when our enrollment period was, and you came to the office and not only had one-on-one with all of our employees, but you did a firm-wide presentation, which was very helpful. And I've been a very happy client of yours for over a year now. So I appreciate that.
Well, and that's a good point. Making sure, especially on the health insurance side, making sure that your employees understand what is being offered and that they appreciate it. Because, you have 15 employees, 16 employees. You don't have to offer health insurance. You only have to start doing that when you have 50 or more full-time employees. So what you're doing is a pretty cool perk for your employees. That's part of my job too, is making sure that they understand that this is being offered and it doesn't have to be, so.
I appreciate that. Thank you. So with that being said, what is your vision? Where do you want to take Heaton Associates?
Well, we always want to grow. We need to expand with our employees. We are jumping into payroll. So we are starting payroll. So we're going to be offering that to our clients shortly. Actually, we're signing up our first few payroll clients over the next little while. Really want to grow through payroll, HR, and commercial, just trying to find clients where we offer the entire package. I think that's what our competition's doing. We run into the big payroll companies, and this is why we jumped into payroll, because the big payroll companies, they come in and they offer the world, say it's all in one place, and then you find out that you're dealing with 3 different people in 3 different states because they're so big, and that's what they do. We're trying to copy that, but more on a local level, more on individual, and more on a service-based.
I love it. And besides the hands-on, the personal relationship that you have with your clients that make you stand out from the other bigger firms, what's Heaton family and Heaton Associates business doing to stay involved in the community?
We're very heavily involved in our church. My family, we're part of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, and we are very heavily involved in that. That probably, besides our work life and family life, that takes up probably 50 to 60, maybe even more % of our time. I mentioned my kids earlier that they are at the high school, so we're very involved with the local high school. We're committed to making sure that it succeeds because we want our kids to succeed. I've been baseball coach in the area for a number of years, and so I've got to coach a lot of the youth, and it's fun to see a lot of those. I say my oldest son's 24, so glad to see some of those boys, those young men now, as they turn 24 and start to have families and start to see them become successful in society and successful family men. What else do we do? I think just being involved. I think shopping in Yucaipa, shopping in in Redlands, shopping in Beaumont. I think that's important. You go into the local restaurants, and we have great restaurants here that sometimes get missed. And I think it's important that you do that.
Well, and you mentioned earlier, you and I frequent the same gym, so I see you there. I go there 3 times a week and get my butt kicked by the gentleman there in racquetball. But it's always good to see you up and around in the community, not only looking for business, but also giving back. And that is one of the focuses of what I like to highlight, individuals and businesses like yourself, that not only is providing service and making money out of the community, but giving back and being involved with time, treasure, or talent. So I appreciate you taking the time to join us here, and look forward to seeing you in BNI and the chambers and all of the other areas that we see each other in the community. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks, Chris. Appreciate you having me on.
Thanks for following up with us, folks. Thank you for watching these episodes. And if you think anybody could be interested or can benefit out of this episode, please share it with them. And also, if you have any suggestions of other community members and organizations that you think we can highlight them and interview them in our podcast, please share that information again with us by writing us a review and leaving us a message and liking and subscribing to all of the channels that we have on social media. Thank you again for joining the Chris Markarian podcast, and we'll see you in the next episode.